Alright, Shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Peace, blessed to the hopeful at the 12 tribes, scattered abroad, and all you Israelites who may look like the heathen. Right? And that's giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh, which is the name of the Father, Yahweh Shai, which is the name of the Son, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rakakadash in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. Right? So what I wanted to get into in today's video, did Shakespeare edit the King James Version of the Bible? Right? And the gist of this is that I believe that, was there some infiltration with the Bible? Yeah. Is the Bible entirely fake? No. I think it's Satan trying to throw in little things to get you off track, which really don't matter in the grand scheme of things. Because basically, here's what I believe, right? So King James, he got the documents, boom, boom, right? The manuscripts of the Bible, the Greek and the Hebrew. Then, he had his scholars. What was it like? It might have been 47 scholars, maybe 46. He got his scholars, they got it translated. These people were probably Illuminati, Freemasons. That's true, but they still translated the Bible. That's what I believe is probably what's going on here. So what I think is Satan is using this little fact of the King James to dissuade the elect from believing in it, right? Because I seen this video from a black woman, right? She was leaving Christianity, and she references Shakespeare, right? So I clearly, black people, it's really disappointing, but I mean, what she was saying though was kind of true. Because if you hear Shakespeare edited the Bible and he wrote plays, well, obviously you're going to associate the Bible with plays, with fiction, right? But I don't think that's what is the truth. So why do they think this, right? So basically scholars were looking at the very few handwritten documents that are surviving from Shakespeare. He seemed illiterate because his handwriting was garbage, right? So they were like, maybe he's using some ghostwriter or, pseudonym, whatever. Because ain't no way the dude that signed that document was the actual man that wrote all these plays. And if you know about Shakespeare, he was actually fundamental to the development of the English language, right? That's how good they say his plays were, and the language and the way he was using words, right? Even I'm not gonna get into it, but apparently he was into gematria, and so how can this dude who's a Freemason, which I didn't say that, but Shakespeare, he was a Freemason and a Rosicrucian, so this dude who wrote plays for King James, another thing, he wrote plays for King James, he was a Freemason and a Rosicrucian, he was developmental, or what I'm trying to say. He was basically the founder of English, modern English. But his handwriting was garbage. Looked like he was illiterate. I don't know. It sounds off. So then, when you look into it, right? And I found this out myself, because basically, I'm the type to just go to the source. Forget all the nonsense. And I'm going to try to stop making history videos, and just get to the Bible, right? But basically, I get to the source. And when I seen this play by Shakespeare, it's a spitting image of the King James Version of the Bible, the 1611 version of it, right? The originally published version of the King James. So if you look at the tempest, you can see this Rosicrucian emblem, right? Which is, I believe it's Achilles. Let me try to, can you see it? Right, and that's on the tempest on Shakespeare's book. Right, and as soon as I seen that, I was familiar with the calligraphy and just the emblems in the 1611 King James Version of the Bible. Right, and I went to, because I own a 1611 copy, I looked at it, and boom, there it was, the same Achilles Rosicrucian emblem. Right, you see the angels, which are really demons, but you see them? Right, and that's exactly the same in Shakespeare. Alright, so I wanted to note that in my physical copy of the 1611 is similar emblems, right? You can look at them, but it's actually a missing page. Now, that's why I say just don't really fall for this garbage. But of course, like I said, I have a copy of the 1611, not the original. So, I mean, there could be missing pages in this edition, who knows? But it doesn't really matter because I don't believe the Jesuits actually wrote the Bible, just translated it. And the Rosicrucians, right? So here you can see the first book of Moses, and you'll see the names of all the books in the Old Testament. But then you go on the website, KingOriginalBibles.com. Apparently they have some different version, like it's basically the same, but it looks like a missing page. So you go to the next page. Right? And this page is blank on their edition, but then you look at this page, boom, there it is. Right? The genealogies is missing in my Bible. I have let me check. This is the one I have. I bought it off of Amazon. And apparently it was printed in China. 10th printing, August 2018. So relatively, it's a copy. It's not the original. Right? Theirs is King's printer, Robert Barker. You can see it. So, right? So that's literally there. It's there. Right? Ain't no getting around that. But like I said, I think it's just were they Freemasons? Maybe. Also, several writers, that were having fights with Shakespeare, they mentioned this guy named Labio, which is code for Shakespeare. You can look into it, look up Labio and John Marston. There's other different references to Labio being Shakespeare. So Labio equals Shakespeare, right? And basically, both of these are actual pseudonyms, right? They don't actually exist. The real guy's name is Sir Francis Bacon. This is the real Shakespeare. Right? And how do we know this? In Titus Andronicus, written by Shakespeare, a woman named Cornelia is reading Roman classics to her son. Right? And Lady Anne Bacon, Sir Francis Bacon's mom, of course, used to read Roman classics to Bacon. Right? And there's other different Roman references, even specific names like Lucrece. You can look that up, but it's not pertinent to salvation. I just wanted to make this, just for knowledge's sake. Right? You can look that up. But so basically, Labio equals Shakespeare. Shakespeare equals Bacon. Right? Sir Francis Bacon. Labio in the Gematria equals 33. bacon in the gematria equals 33. Right? If you go to Psalms chapter 46, which I'll actually pull it up right now, just for the sake of showing you. You go to the 46th word starting from the top, and you'll see the word shake. Right? So this is verse 3 in Psalm chapter 46. Right? And you can see the word shake there. You start from the bottom and go to the 46th word. It'll say spear, right? In verse 9. Basically, Shakespeare in Psalm chapter 46. Why 46? Because the 1611 King James Version of the Bible, was published in 1611. If Shakespeare was involved with this project, basically, the year before 1611, Shakespeare would have been 46 years old. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, Psalm 46, Shakespeare was 46 when he was jotting that down, supposedly. Right? But they can't temper the minds of the elect. Don't be deceived by Satan. Yeah, that's about it. I just wanted to get into that just because, you had this whole Rosicrucian Jesuit Freemasonic infiltration within the One West sect of the Black Hebrew Israelite, the true biblical Israelite. So, with that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rekakadash. Yeah, just follow the laws of Christ, man. Yahweh Shai, in the New Testament. Right? Beware of false prophets. One of the main ones, which is all these One West sellouts. So, yeah. That's about it. Peace, blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.